Welcome to the He Said,
She Said,
We Said podcast. Today we're talking about listening versus fixing. And I know in our house, that was some spirited debates for a while because me as a dad or a husband, I'm a fixer, in my career, parents are coming to me all the time going, help me, help me, help me. And, I remember this one specific time I came home and you were like, hey, how was your day? And I'm like, it's fine. And I didn't answer back. And you were like, I could see you're like, I was like, oh, so how was your day? And you started telling me. And then I was like, oh, she's got a problem. This is great. This is great. And then you looked at me and you were like, I don't need you to fix it. I just need you to listen. And I'm like, what do you, like, my brain just like cross-wired real hard. I was like, what do you mean? Why would you tell somebody a problem if you didn't want them to fix it? That doesn't make sense to me. Because in my world, I fix things for people. So I don't know if you remember that conversation or not, but like when that happens in our house and I'm fixing it and you're just wanting me to be a listener, how does that make you feel?
Well, sometimes like your answer comes like right away. So like I didn't even finish getting a chance to finish my story and telling you all of what I was feeling. And then you coming up with an answer so quickly also, I feel like it trivializes my questions or my problem. So it kind of doesn't feel right. Like I don't feel like you were really listening to what I had to say. You just wanted to jump right into fixing it, which is what you do. But they're different conversations. And I think I do this with the kids. Well, now, after learning, I say to them, hey, when you come to me, tell me whether this is I just want you to listen to me, Mom, or, hey, Mom, I really want your opinion. Like, what do you think I should do?
How do they respond? Because I know, like, if you're a kid and you're like, was this a fix it problem or listen? Like, they're like, what? Right? How do the kids respond to you when you say that?
Well, I don't really say that anymore because we've gotten used to it. So it's more like, do you just want me to listen? And I don't have to state anything else. It's just more like, do you just want me to listen? And then at the end of the conversation, I'll ask them, hey, I have some thoughts on this. Do you want me to add that? Like, it's kind of like I want to be part of their, I don't know. I want to make sure that they know that I'm understanding them and I care about them. But at the same time, I need to be respectful not to give solutions when they don't really want them.
So how do I know as a parent if I'm going to hurt my child's feelings by saying, do you want me to listen or fix it for you? I mean, I can imagine like the kid, we've been doing this for our kids a long time, so it's easy, right? But for this parent who's like, oh yeah, I like what you're saying, the first time they look at their child who's like now 11, like, Mom, I got this problem. And the parent goes, well, do you want me just to listen to the problem or fix it? Like, how do you, that seems a little like, oh, right? So how do we get the parent to be able to say what they need to say to the child so the child is like receptive to what they have to say and not like, oh, you're just saying that because you want to listen?
I think that if you listen through to what they're telling you, what the issue or problem or whatever's come up, and then in the end, you then ask if they want your help. I think that this is like, you're really good at coming up with questions. When you talk to them, you're really good with coming up with questions so that they come up with the answers themselves.
So I think that's super important because I like to fix things. And, I'm all about buy-in. And for me, by asking questions during the conversation, I actually get them to buy into their own answers, which is probably the answers I would give anyways, which is the advice that they don't want to listen to because it's dad's advice. So, when the kid says, I had this problem at school and this kid pushed me, and I say, well, what happened? Well, this happened, and then he pushed me. What did you do? That really? And how'd that make you feel? Now, if that happened to a friend, what would you tell that friend to do? Right? So you ask enough questions and they go, well, I would tell that friend to go tell the teacher because telling the teacher is the right thing to do. That's a great idea. So I think, to your point earlier, I want to listen so that our kids have the validation and feel important that my parents listen to me, because as you've let me know over the years, when you cut me off to give me an answer, that doesn't make me feel good.
Right.
So even though we probably have been through that kid's situation 17 times and we already know the answer, making them feel good and heard is important.
Yes.
And then by creating the conversation back and forth, asking the questions, which, by the way, is another podcast that we've done, how to communicate with your kids, by leading them to the answers that they already know. And I think that's what's most important. So many of us already have the answers.
Yeah.
We don't want you to tell us the answer. We want you to validate the answer that we have, but we don't want to tell you that we have the answer. So by leading them with questions, they come up with the answer that we would probably give them in the first place. And they'll go, oh, I came up with that on my own. I'm a hero. And then from there, they'll be able to go solve the situation on something they did because they have more buy-in on it because it's something they came up with, not something we came up with.
And it also gives them more confidence in the future to, one, come to us if they need advice.
Oh, I think you're spot on there. Is so many kids don't come to their parents because they feel like, oh, it's another lecture.
Yep.
Right? As opposed to, I'm coming to you and we're going to have a conversation and I'm going to walk away feeling empowered from that. So it is that confidence, not only in themselves, but in the relationship with their parents, that I can go to you without feeling like I just got in trouble.
Right.
Because even though they're not in trouble, sometimes we lecture the advice so much that they feel like they just got reprimanded for something.
True.
All right, guys, that's our podcast for today. Thanks for being part of it. If you know somebody, no, let's not do that.
What you said in the beginning, I really like. There's always somebody that this could be helpful to.
Right.
And you probably know that person. So
Got it.
share
Hey, guys, thanks for being part of today's podcast. I'm sure you took something away from this, and I'm sure you probably know somebody else that needs something that was said in today's podcast. If you do, please make sure you share it with them. Thanks for joining us on this episode. Make sure you subscribe and join us next time.